Hi everyone, I'm Piotr Zaraś, and in this tutorial I want to show you how to create a game asset for Unity engine. And here I want to create a tobacco pipe and start the modeling in 3D Studio Max and painting in Substance Painter, and then exporting and importing in Unity engine. But before starting our work, the first and the main thing is to set our correct unit scale in 3D Studio Max. Let's do that. For doing this, I will go to the Customize menu and choose the unit setup here. And as you see, by default, I have the display unit scale of US standard decimal inches and system unit setup on 1 unit equals to 1 inches. But I suggest you, for the people who want to create game assets for Unity, and especially for the persons who want to sell their items in Unity Asset Store, not to choose this correction for their scale and for the unit setup. And for having a good scale and a good unit setup, let's set 1 unit equals to 1 centimeters and click on OK. And let's choose metric and centimeters by default, and let's select OK. And it's time to test if my unit setup is correct or not. For testing that, I will create a box in my scene, and let's put it on the center of the screen, and let's set the dimension here to 100 by 100 by 100 centimeters, or 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. This size is equals to the default cube size in Unity. So if I export this cube and import it in Unity and compare this cube with the Unity default cube, if the sizes are equal, I can say my correction for my unit setup is okay. But if the sizes are not the same, I must come back to 3D Studio Max and test other unit setups. So let's test that. For doing it, I will go to the file and choose export, and here I will select export selected, and here I will save it as test cube, and the format is fx. Okay, I think it's good, and leave all the parameters as it is, and click on OK. And let's open Unity. When you open Unity and click on New, you must set a project name. For example, here I have set CG Alley Fantasy Tobacco Pipe, and the location, you must set a location for your Unity scene. And here I have set my location and create on the Create Project. And let's wait to load the Unity. All right, it's loading. Okay, good. Now, as you see, I have a blank project in my Unity, and it's time to import my FBX cube into Unity. For doing that, I will click on Asset and select Show in Explorer. To see my Assets folder, I will open that and click Create a new folder called FBX for saving my FBX files in FBX folder in the Assets in my Unity project. And let's go to my saved place, my place where I saved my FBX file here, and copy that to my asset FBX. Okay, as you see, now I have a FBX folder in my asset and a test cube here. Okay, let's drag and drop the test cube in the scene and set the position, for example, to 0 by 0 by 0 to be on the center in the scene. And let's create a default cube in Unity. For doing that, I will right click in here and 3D object and cube. As you see, I have a cube, and the sizes of Unity default cube and 3D Studio Max exported cube are the same. So I can say my correction for unit setup is okay. And now I can start loading my reference in 3D Studio Max and start modeling, and I can be sure when I export my scene and import it in Unity, I have the correct unit setup in Unity, and everything is okay. So let's load our reference. For loading that, I will create a plane here and name it reference. There we go. Let's set the left segments and right segment and the lowest value, for example 1, and let's go to material editor here. The shortcut of material editor is M on the keyboard. So the material editor has two modes, one is a slate and the other is compact. Here by default I have the slate material editor loaded in my scene, and if I want to work with compact layer based setup of material editor, I will click on compact, and here I have the compact material editor. And let's click on the diffuse to load a bitmap, and I will load my reference bitmap here. So let's click on the bitmap. And here is my tobacco pipe I want to load here, and if I clicked on the tobacco pipe, and before opening that I will see the size. As you see, the size of it is 1080 by 6020. So I must set my plane to 6020 to 1080 so that I have the same aspect ratio of the reference. So let's do that. 6020 and 1080. And the aspect ratio is now equal to the aspect ratio of my reference, and I can scale it. If you see the plane is too big, you can scale it in all directions, because the main thing we needed for setting the sizes equals to the size of the reference is to set the same aspect ratio as the reference has. Now, but I don't want to scale that. I will leave it as it is, and let's load my reference to the reference plane here, as you see, and let's move the reference to the center and a little back, and let's right click on that, object properties, and uncheck the show frozen in gray. Let's move it up a little bit. I think it's okay for my place for my reference, as you see. And let's put it in another layer. So I will open layer manager, introduce Studio Max, and create a new layer. Let's create a new layer, call it reference or ref. I think ref is okay. And let's select my plane here and click on this button to put it in my ref folder. But as you see, my ref layer is blue. It shows that my ref layer is my active layer, and if I create an object, introduce Studio Max in a scene, I will have my object in my ref layer, but I don't want to have that. I want to create objects in default layer, so I will click on default to make it blue. Now my default is my active layer. And I want to freeze my reference layer so that it cannot be selected when I'm working on my object. So let's click on freeze here. Now I have my reference freezed and I can't select it anymore. Alright, it's good. Now it's time to start the modeling. One thing you must pay attention during creating a game object, that you must model your object as low poly as you can, and your model looks good for having a more optimized object for game engine and having a better performance in game engine. Let me show you an example. Here, let's go to front viewport, and here I have two kinds of cylinder. One cylinder has a size of 8, and let's copy that, and the other cylinder has a size of 64. As you see, the cylinder with the size of 64 has a very smooth curvature, but the cylinder with the size of 8 has a lot of corner in its curvature. Also, the cylinder with the size of 64 is much prettier than the other one, but it's not optimized for game engine. And if I want to create a cylinder, I will select the cylinder with the size of 8. So in creating a game object, sometimes we must overlook some features because of having a more optimized shape for game engine. And in this example, I will select the cylinder with the size of 8, even it has some drawbacks. So by knowing that, let's start the modeling. For starting the modeling, I will start my work with the cylinder. I will create the cylinder in the top view and move it in front in its place. Let's click on Alt X to go in the see-through mode, and let's maximize the viewport in the front view. And here, as you see, I have a cylinder. Let's put it in the right position. Alright, it's good, I think. And let's convert it to editable poly. For the size I selected 8. Let's convert it to editable poly. and select the up and bottom polygons and delete them, something like that. Alright, it's time to correct the place of edges and the vertices. So let's select the upper border and put it in the right place. I think it's okay. Let's select the bottom border and rotate it a little bit more, something like that, and scale it. Even move it to put it in the right place. Let's rotate it more, somewhere like here. Scale it down. Alright, something like that. And I need a segment in here, so I will select these edges and click on ring. I will select this ring and let's right click and click on connect to add a segment in here, and let's scale that to better match the shape. Select the upper border and scale it down. Alright, much better. And let's rotate it a little bit more, something like that. Now let's select the bottom border and copy the edges and polygons by holding shift and moving, something like that. Let's rotate it, move it to the right place, somewhere like here. And let's scale it a little bit more. And let's move it. I think it's okay. Let's copy that again. Rotate it. Move it in the right place and scale it. Again. Alright, I think it's fine. The place is okay. And I need more segments here. So let's select these edge rings. Scale it. And change the position of the edge. Something like that. And I want another segment in here. So I use connect for adding segments. I move it a little bit. Okay, I think it's fine and much nicer. Alright, it's time to model other parts. So let's select the bottom part again and copy that. Scale it. I want some more detail in here, so I will add some connect, something like that. Continue the work to model other parts. I will copy it, move it again, and let's move it again. Rotate it to match with this part. And let's copy it again. Let's have a copy in the middle of this down part. Rotate it. Displace. Rotate it again. And middle of the other down part. I will extrude these edges in future to create the down parts. So don't worry about them. I will move it to this place. So easy, so easy. One thing I must say that this reference is not mine, and I found it from the web. So I needed to say that this reference is not mine. So let's continue the work. Here, scale it. In there, I think it's okay. Scale it more and rotate it. And continue the work. To form the base shape of the tobacco pipe. There I have. Okay, the base form of the model is created now. As you see, let me click on Alt X to exit from the see-through mode. And as you see, I have something like that. It's very nice for the base shape. And now I must create more details. For example, let's see. Let's go to the file and let's go to view image file. I load my tobacco pipe here to have my reference clearly visible in here, and I can see what detail I need to create. For example, I need something like here. I need to model this shape. I need to model this cone-like shape in here, and a wire comes out from this cone light and turns around this part, something like here. I have some down parts like here and here. I need some this edge, these routes. A wire comes out from these routes and turns around the pipes and goes into this part. And it's time to model them. So let's start working. Okay, let's first create these down parts. For doing that, I will select these edges. I clicked on loop and right clicked and clicked on extrude. I move it down, something like that. Okay, more down, and it's better. Alright, good. Now let's select this edge loop and rotate it and move it a little bit down, something like that. This edge loop, rotate it, and scale it just a little bit, something like that. It's okay, I think. For the next level, I'll create this part. For doing this, I will go and select this vertex, go to perspective, and add a chamfer to it. Right click, chamfer. I think it's enough. Check that. More. Okay, a little bit more. Good. Let's select this polygon and delete that. Let's select this border and rotate it towards down, and in front viewport I will start to shape. I think it's better to scale the chamfered area much more, to have something like that. Okay, and let's go to front again and move it in towards down. something like that. One more time, rotate it and scale a little bit. Go to perspective, select this edge and this one, and use bridge to bridge these two edges together. Okay, there we go. Now let's create this cone shape. Let's go to front view to see where I must select the vertex. I think I must select this vertex. And here I want the chamfer. Good. I think it's enough. Select the polygon, delete that. Select the border and rotate it towards up. Something like that. Go to front view and move it up, something like here, and start to scale that. Rotate it more and scale it to have a planar shape for the upper border. Something beautiful like this, as you see. Let's move it a little bit towards x-axis, and let's have some copy inside. So I will hold shift and scale towards inside, something like this, and hold shift and move inside down to create a wall inside, something like this. I think it's okay, fine. Let's create the other area. I must create this area. For doing there, I will select the edge and click on loop to select the edge loop, and let's use for example a chamfer, yes, or extrude. Let's give it an extrude. I will give it an extrude to that, move it outside, something like here, fine. Alright, love it. Click on OK. And while I'm selecting this edge loop, I will right click and click on chamfer to chamfer it a little bit more. Something like it. Alright, let's go to the next level. Let's create these areas. Select the edge loop here and right click and click on extrude, something like that. Move it towards out more, fine. And while I'm selecting this edge loop, I will right click and select chamfer to make it more round. We can increase the number of segments to make it more round, something like that. Fine. Let's create this area. Select this edge loop again, extrude. Be careful, these vertices not to overlap with this edge vertices, so I put it on lower values so that this vertex not to overlap with this one, and let's set in lower values. Okay, and let's chamfer that. Good. And this area. Select this edge loop again, extrude, we will see this vertex not to overlap with that one, so I will set lower values, something like that, and let's add chamfer. Fine, I love it. Let's select this border, add a chamfer, something like that. Select this edge loop, right click, add extrude, and set it in higher values so that these vertices overlap with these ones, as you see. Now all the vertices in up part overlap with the end part of the pipe. Alright, fine. And let's add chamfer. Good. And I will select all the vertices in here and click on weld. Now the overlapped vertices are weld together. Okay, good. Select the end border again while holding shift, scale inside, while holding shift, moving inside to create inner pipe of the inner part of the pipe. Fine. Scale it. And I must bridge the edges together to close this hole. So let's select this edge and this edge, click on bridge, this one and this one, again bridge, and this one and this one, again click on bridge, something like that. Very nice. I love it. And let's create this part. I will select this edge in here. Let's click on ring. No, I think I must select this edge. Yes, let me see in front viewport. Yes. This area is related to this part. So I must select this edge and click on ring and add about 2 connects. Move it. Fine. And select this edge and this edge. Click on ring. Add a connect again. 2 connects like this. And let's select these edges, click on ring, and while I'm holding control, I will select polygon to select all the polygons in here. And let's go to perspective view and right click and select extrude to extrude it out. But I will select look all normal and extrude it out just a little bit, something like that. Fine. Now let's select middle edge in this area and this area and select ring, and again while holding control I will select on polygons and right click and select extrude again. Now as you see, I have this part too. Okay, now it's time to create the wires, and as you see the wire comes out from here and turns around the pipe and goes there, And as you see, I have a very smooth wire in curvatures, and as I told you before, making a smooth curvature needs a lot of segments so that make it smooth, and it is not optimized for game engine. So we must overlook some features like a smoothness of this wire and use less details for creating the wires so that we have better performance in game engine. So for creating this wire, I use a line tool and some vertices and move the vertices so that it turns around the pipe. But in the curvature, I will have some corners, and my wire will not be as smooth as this shape because of the thing I mentioned. And let me show you. If I want to create a smooth lines, I can set the initial type to corner and the drag type to Bezier or smooth. My default is Bezier. And if I click somewhere, I have the first point of the line, and if I move there and if I one click again, I will have a corner point. And if I click and create a line and click another time, but this time I will drag, I will have a Bezier point, and this Bezier point has a much more smooth curvature than just a line, as you see. But we must use this form because, let me show you, let me renderable that. When I make it renderable, as you see, these vertical segments, I have a lot of vertical segments to make it smooth, but let me renderable it again. But I have less vertical segments for this kind of shape, so it is more optimized for game engines. I will use the corner points to create the wire. So let's do that. I will start to make a wire from here. I will go create a corner points like this, 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 and this one. And whenever I need, I will add vertices to the places where I want. So let's start to turn around the wire, and let's make it less thickness. Nice. And I want less detail for the sides of the wire, so I'll use, for example, 6. Yes, it's better for having a more better performance. Let's change the position of the vertices, something like that. Move it in here, and then let's move it there, down, near, down, and somewhere like here. As you see, move it up and to this place. Let's create another vertices by the refine and click on here. Another vertex is created, and I move it to the right place. Again, as you see, I need another vertex here, so I will click refine and create another vertex. There we go. It's better now. I will move this vertex up, and this one too, to this place. Something awesome like there. Let's move it a little bit down, something like here. Awesome. All right. So awesome. Let's add another vertex here. to make it much smoother. Something like that. Move it up. Let's another refine. There we go. And okay, let's add another refine in here. Oh, excuse me. I add two. Okay, good. And fine. Let's increase the amount of thickness just a little bit. Something awesome like that. And I'm happy with it. And I need to select this vertex in here and add some chamfer. Something like this. Then I will select this one and extrude it. There it is. And let's scale it in x-axis to make it planar. And let's move it in y-axis too. Awesome. And let's delete the polygon. Let's select the border here. Scale it down. Something like that. Scale it inside, excuse me. And now scale it down. Something like this. Let's select the wire again and move the vertex so that's better matched here. Add another vertex in here by the refine. And I think it's awesome. Let's change the color of the pipe by this color swatch in here. I will select a darker color for the pipe and even more darker color for the wires. Something like this. It's better now, I like that. Okay. Now let's create these routes in here. One route is in here and the other route is in here, and from this route, as I see, a wire comes out and turns around. It's from here and turns around here and goes down in the pipe where the tobacco is set. Now let's create these routes in here. Let's go to front view, and for creating that I will use line again. So let's activate line. And let's create one vertex in here, the other one in here, 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 here. I think it's okay now. And let's move it. Okay, it's in right position. It's just in the middle of the pipe. Right. Let's go to front viewport again and start to add some refine. Move it in there. I want one more in here. Another one in here. And I move it in here. I think it's okay. Alright, it's okay now. I can convert it to editable poly, so let's convert it to editable poly, and let's add a connect in here and select this ring again, add one more connect, let's set it on 0. Alright, and now let's scale it. Select the end vertices, move it a little. Again, let's do the work with this, move it in here. Let's select this ring, add a connect. Here is okay. Select the ring again, add one more connect, and start to scale that to have something like this. And for the connection between the routes and the pipe with these parts, I will select the vertices in here and here, here, and finally here, and start to add chamfer. Let's right click and add chamfer. Increase the amount of chamfer, something like that. More. Okay, nice. And let's select the polygons in here. There. Here. And here. Right click and extrude it. Move it up so that it goes inside the pipe. Something like that. Fine. Love it. Let's create another route in here. Again, I will go here and start to create by line in front view. One in here, the other one in here. Add one more in here and the other in here. I will move it in there and stop creating other parts because these parts are the wires that comes out from this route. Alright, let's again add a refine in here, move it in there, something like that. Add another one and another one, something like this. Let's convert it to editable poly and select this loop and scale that. I love it. Select these vertices, move it a little bit. Now for the connection, I will select the vertices in here, excuse me, here and here, and again here, and add a chamfer. See that in perspective view. I need more chamfer for that. Something like that. Even a little bit more. Select the polygons again. And start to extrude them so that it goes inside the pipe. Set it on higher values. Now I think everything is fine and I love it too much. Okay, let's click on OK and let's isolate this selection by Alt and Q in the keyboard. And as you see, I have selected my end polygons here, and because I don't need the end polygons and I want to make my object as low polygon as I can, I will delete the places where I don't need. So I will delete them. And again, I will delete this end part of this. Fine. Now from there, I need some wire that goes, comes from here and goes and turns around there, and finally it goes inside here. So for doing there, I will use line again. Let's create a line, add some vertices, and I will not worry about the position of the lines. I will just create vertices. Alright, now it's time to set the right position for the vertices of the wire. Let's fix the place of all of them. It goes back. Somewhere like here. Moves up. there. Again. Again. Move them. Nice. Moving it up. I need more vertices by adding refine. I always style my work with the lowest amount of detail, and whenever I need to add details, I will add by, for example, in this line by refine or by connecting, by chamfering, extruding, and other things like that. It makes me have the ability to control the hard modeling. Because when you start modeling an object with a lot of details, you will have less control on changing and editing other parts. So keep in mind, always start your modeling with the lowest amount of detail and add detail whenever you need. Like this. Check that and move it a little bit down. I need more vertices in here. It's not so good there. The lowest amount of polygon that your model looks good. Keep in mind. Alright, I love this. Now let's select this route in here, add a connect, select this border, scale it. Oh, excuse me, there's something wrong. I haven't connected this place. So let's undo that and select this edge too, and again add connect. There it is. Now select the down border and scale it, and while holding shift let us scale inside and move it a little bit down, something like this. Let's add a dark gray and a more darker to the wire by the color swatch. Now I have the whole mesh I need for my game asset, and let's imagine someone asks me, okay, now how many amount of polygons you have for your model. For answering the person, if I clicked on the 7 in the keyboard to see the statistic in 3D Studio Max, as you see the amount of polygon is 737, and if I say that person I have the amount of 737 for my game asset, it's wrong. Because when we want to say the amount of polygons in some programs like Unity and other game engines, we must always use the amount of triangles, not the amount of polygons here, because this amount of polygons shows the amount of quads in most of the times, but I need the amount of triangles. So for knowing that, I will click on the plus here and go to configure viewports, and let's go to the statistic tab and let's enable the triangles count and click on apply, and as you see I have 1522 polygons for my game asset, and I think it's enough for this asset and I don't want to add more segments to that. But on the other hand, I have some details I haven't created yet. For example, these iron sheets and the nails around that in the body of the pipe, and even the iron sheets in here. So for creating that, I must prepare a copy of a model and work on the copy of the model as the middle version of the model, and after creating these iron sheets and the nails, I will export both the low poly and the mid poly of the model and use it in Substance Painter to extract the normal map from the mid poly to the low poly version of that model. Okay, by knowing that, let's start the work. For doing that, I will create a copy of the model. So let's select all the model and let's click on Ctrl V in the keyboard to have a clone of the model. Keep in mind, you must have your copy of the model exactly in the place of your low poly mesh. The mid poly or high poly and the low poly must have the exact position in the scene. So I will create a copy from the model in its exact position and click on copy, and let's go to my layer manager and let's move it into a new layer. I will call it low poly, and this is my low poly version of my model, and I will hit that, and this default layer has my mid poly version of my model that I want to create these iron sheets on that. Okay, let's start working from here and create the sheets in here. But before doing that, I will delete the wires in the middle version of my model because I don't need the wires, and I just want to add sheets in the body of the model and export normal map just from the body sheets and use it in the lower version of my model. So I don't need the wire for the middle version and it distracts me. So let's delete them. Okay, it's fine now. And I can do my work. Let's select this polygon here to create this sheet. Click on detach as colon, and click on OK. Let's select the detached polygon and add a shell modifier to that. I think the amount as 1 is okay for that, and I will move the pivot to the center of my object. Let's select the main shape again and select the polygons in here, something like that. I think it's okay. Let's see in wire mode. Alright, fine. Let's detach it as colon and select it and add shell modifier, but this time I will use more numbers for other amount. Alright, something like 2. Let's select the main pipe again and select these polygons. I think it's okay. Click on detach as colon, shell again, 1 for the other amount. Let's move the pivot to the center and let's select this one and move the pivot to the center again. Let's select the pipe. I don't need this reference, so let's hit that because I don't need it anymore. Select these polygons and detach it as colon. Select the detached polygons, give it them shell, and I will use something like 1.7 for the other amount. And let's move the pivot to the center of them, select all the detached objects and convert all them to editable poly, something like that. For example, let's select this polygon, this detached part, and let's select the polygons on the object, and let's right click and click on inset to have an inset, move it inside to have a line, something like that. I like it. It's time to select this line. I will select all the line loops, and let's click on create shape from selection, and I will select linear to have a shape from the line I've created by adding insets. Alright, now I want to add the nails. For adding the nails, I will use a sphere. So let's add a sphere, and I'm change the hemisphere to something like 0.7. I think it's okay. Let's go to front view and put the pivot just in the base of the object. So let's affect pivot only and move the pivot just on the base of my shape, something like that. Let's scale it more. Alright, and let's use the move and place or select and place object in a tool in 3D Studio Max, and by using it I will move the sphere or my object in the place I want it to be, something like here. And let's scale it more, use it select and place to put it in the center of my line. As you see, it's in the center of my line. Okay, and for copying that, I will select my nail here, and let's go to my tools and in align, and I will select spacing tool here, and let's click on pick path and select my paths. As you see, I think 32 is enough, 32 or 33 is enough. I want copy, not instance. I want it to be in center of my line, and I think it's okay. Let's click on apply to apply it and delete the first sphere I created in here as my nail, and I don't need this line again. Now as you see, I have my iron sheet and the nails on that in here, and by this way you can create other nails on the sheets in here. You can create other sheets and nails in the body of that. And because I don't want to make this video longer than this, I will pause the video and start to model the sheets and the nails by this way I told you, and let's do that. Alright, all done, and as you see I have added all the sheets and the nails to the model, and all the modeling is finished now. And after modeling, I can make whole the model smooth by click on the smooth here, on selecting this one again and click on the smooth to have something like that. Or another way to smooth the model is to select all the polygons or the elements, and let's go to here and clear all the smoothing groups and select one smoothing group for all the polygons. This is another way to smooth, something like that. And this is the middle body of my model. Let's load the low poly. Let's hidden that and load the low poly. And here I can select all them again and smooth them. Let's smooth them. Convert it to poly. Smooth. And smooth. Again this one. And now everything is finished. And I think it's enough for this lesson, and in the next lesson I will start to unwrap the low poly version of the model, and then after unwrapping them I will export both the low poly and the mid poly version of my model to Substance Painter. to start baking normal map from the mid poly to the low poly and start painting from the to the low poly model and exporting textures and importing them to Unity to add the texture to the standard material of the Unity, and after that I will create a particle system for the inner part of the pipe so that I have some steam effects coming out from the pipe. And if you are not watching this video from YouTube, my YouTube channel, and you want to access my other videos in YouTube channel, you can type my name here in YouTube as you see and click enter, and you will have me here. You can subscribe me or click on my name to access my other videos here. And I have put a lot of educational videos here, and I will add more in future. You can learn a lot of tips and tricks here by loading these videos or downloading them and seeing them. And the other way to access my YouTube channel is to type bit.ly ali3dking and click on enter, and again you will access my channel. And if you want to be informed for other videos for in future, you can subscribe my channel, and I will thank you if you subscribe me. And I think it's enough for the part 01, and wait for the part 02 for texturing and importing in Unity and creating particle system of that. And feel free to contact me with the information at the beginning of the video. Thanks for watching. Good luck.